Have you ever felt like you shouldn't be in this room? You shouldn't be giving this talk. You shouldn't be this successful in your business. You shouldn't be speaking to other people about raising finance because you don't know what you're doing. Or that you just don't belong in the position you're in. Well, I think a lot of us, including myself, will experience something called imposter syndrome. Very, very common in people who are successful, and actually often in the people who are successful in a humble way. If you're quite cocky and quite arrogant, you may feel this deep down, but you're probably not going to be expressing a lot of the symptoms of it. However, it does affect everyone. Celebrities talk about it, really big entrepreneurs talk about it. I'm sure your favorite, educator, property trainer who tells the truth on social media also shares it. There's been times early when I've started in new businesses or new ventures where I've thought, me? Only for a second. When I've thought, me doing this? Me in this room? Me talking to these people about this? Like, are you sure it's me? And then I get rid of it pretty quickly. And I'm going to show you how I think you can get through that imposter syndrome and some tips, some tricks, some daily things you can do to work past that. But look, if you're feeling it, you're not alone. It is common, and you could be the most successful person ever, and you could still think, why am I here? What am I doing? And I think, really to explain it, it's pretty simple. What is imposter syndrome? It's a feeling that you are an imposter. It's a feeling that you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be doing this, having these conversations. You've been invited to speak at a networking event. You just can't believe it. Me? But I don't know anything. What? You're doing really successful in your business, but you can't help think, it's just luck. It's not, I've worked hard, but, it's just luck. And that's probably one of the biggest symptoms, is not owning your success or your victory and sort of blaming an external thing or blaming circumstance, instead of saying, I worked my ass off. Of course I'm here. Like, no doubt. I'm here now. In a year, I'm going to be... No, we just think, it must have been a good year in the market. It must have been, I just got really lucky on that deal, bought that business, and then, wow, it turned out amazing. Is that the case, or did you spend a lot of time and effort on that, and do you kind of know what you're doing? So that's one of them. I think another kind of symptom or way of describing it is that you feel like a fraud. You question your validity for doing certain things, and again, having achieved certain things. Did I really do that? Like, how did I know how to do that? You even question things You've got a 5-step plan for winning your business, right? You've created it, you've implemented it, and it works. But imposter syndrome can still make you think, am I a fraud? You're offering coaching, mentoring. Am I a fraud? Am I not actually who I think I am? Am I just like everyone else? Because I'm selling it, and why is it selling? Because, and it's that kind of almost constant self-questioning, especially when things are going well, especially when you're having success, and you just think, how is that me? And then I think one of the last symptoms, I'm sure there's lots, but one of the last key symptoms is comparing yourself to others, Oh, well, I'm only here and they're there, so clearly I'm not meant to be here, I'm not the right person, I can't do it, look how much better than me they're doing it, I must be an imposter. And, all of these kind of symptoms really do come together with that lack of self-belief, and maybe even a lack of self-worth, where, you just can't understand, you can't comprehend that you have done this and you are in this position. And, when you come from being self-employed to employed, and I see this a lot of people I talk to, there is almost an increase in it, because beforehand you had your role in a big business or in a business, and you were kind of doing that, and you kind of wore one hat, and you did that, your boss said, good job, blah, blah, blah. But now you're out in the big wide world doing it yourself. The market is telling you you've done a good job, you're making money, but people don't believe it because there's no structure, there's no employer, there's no job title, there's no promotion path as such for you, to tell you, actually, you should be here. You've just been working in IT your whole life. You've now acquired a scaffolding business, right? And this happens. And suddenly you're Dave the scaffolder. Like, you know, it can be really difficult for our minds to comprehend that, because actually, you know, in some respects, in some regards, we may be imposters in that scenario, right? But if you're learning the right way, you've got consultants on board, you've got a great team, and you can run a business, or you're learning how to run a business, then you're not, you know? But it is very normal in that scenario to feel like that, you know? You're working in customer service, and now you're a property investor. What? You know, it's almost a question of identity. 1 minute you're a customer service rep, next minute you're a self-proclaimed property investor with no properties. So sometimes our lack of action, because we're new, right? If you're lazy, that's separate. But if you're new, you're just making that switch. That lack of, you know, action or results can also bring on the imposter syndrome, because, you know, you're saying, well, I'm calling myself a property investor, but where's my property? Where's my experience? You know, so I totally get that there will also be logical reasons that you think, well, hold on a minute, I'm calling myself this, but I haven't got this. And, you know, really, I think it comes from self-doubt, a fear of failure as well. Sometimes your body protects you and says, oh, that's not you. You can't do that. That's not you. Even though you are doing it and you're getting better at it, or you're just starting out. But your mind, our human, you know, evolutionary minds want to be safe, want to protect you, especially if you've been employed for a long time, or if you've got a network around you and not helping. It's very easy for your body to say, I think we're going to fail, so let's just quit while we're ahead. You know, one swallow doesn't make summer. You made it, you know, you made it a sale. Nah, can you do 10 more? Probably not, best to leave it. Unless people will say that to you, right? I don't know what kind of friends they are. And, you know, one of the ways for me to, I suppose, reframe this story that we tell ourselves is to say that, well, I'm not an imposter because I'm making, literally logic, I'm making a business switch into a different sector and I'm learning. That's what I am. Oh, I'm not a scaffolder, I've had a career in IT, but I'm learning, and I'm a business person and I'm learning and I'm leveling up. I'm not an imposter. I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. You know, I'm not coming into the scaffolding business and saying, yeah, I've been doing this 20 years and yeah, I know my stuff. You're coming in and saying, I can manage operations, I can manage projects, I'm learning to be a business person, I'm learning to manage businesses, but, and you know, not once have I claimed to be a scaffolder. So like, you know, who am I being an imposter of? And again, you jump into property investment, you jump into buying businesses, running businesses, whatever it is. As long as you're not claiming to be someone way more advanced, way more skilled, way more experienced in it, how are you an imposter? You have to ask yourself this, like how? You're not. You're saying, I'm starting out, I haven't got experience in this sector, and that's that. You know, so you almost kind of say to yourself, well, go on then, tell me, who am I being an imposter of? Because there's no answer in that situation, because you're not being an imposter of anyone, you know? And, you know, when you feel that way, maybe in networking rooms, or if someone and this is very common, someone invites you to speak at their event, someone invites you to an invite-only event. Oh, should I be there? You have been invited, paid, hired, whatever it is, to be in that situation and in that scenario for a reason. You know, they haven't asked you because they think that you're the worst person for the job, or that you're not going to do a good job, or that you haven't got the requisite experience. If someone is asking you, not in today's world where people, you know, do their research, you know, they watch you, they see what you're up to, they're asking you for a reason because they believe that you're the right person for that. So why don't you believe them? If you don't believe yourself, trust in them and trust their belief. You know, if they're someone who has run multiple businesses, 7-figure entrepreneur, and you're just starting out, but they've given you a chance, what does that tell you? They're way ahead of you, way more experienced. Their mind is way more sharpened to find good entrepreneurs and good opportunities. So is that not a massive compliment that you have been asked to go and do this? Right? And if you're getting paid for it, then pay the heck even more. But like, you have to reframe that and see that as, they trust me, they know what they're doing. So like, who are you to not trust yourself? Like who are you? When someone has more experience than and they trust you, who cares about your own opinion? Like, believe theirs, right? And I think a few things you can do to really overcome this is to own your wins. Celebrate this. I always say, yes, we delay gratification, but you need to celebrate those wins. You need to celebrate the small things. I'm not saying go buy a Lamborghini every time you make a sale, but I'm saying, I don't know, do what you like to do, right? To celebrate that. Don't just think, oh, I've done 3, but I need to get 7. Get 7. Oh, I've got 7, I need to get 8. We all do this. We all do this as entrepreneurs. You know this. Right? And if you're new to it, you're going to do the same thing. But we have to set milestones where we say, okay, I've hit that number. I'm going to go buy a burger from Tej's food business. I am going to go for a half-an-hour run. I am going to buy some new Lush moisturizer. That's flipping expensive. Whatever it is, you have to own your wins, because that shows you, I did that. It allows you to reflect on the time, the effort, the blood, sweat and tears you put into that victory, and then to celebrate it. So either of those things should then show you, that's me. I did that, and we're celebrating that. Small. Second thing, it's very hard to compare. They say comparison is the thief of joy. And, I think sometimes you do kind of want a comparison level. You do kind of want to, okay, well, I'm this age, I've done this. It's very normal to do that, right? But with this comparison, it is the thief of joy, because we look over there when we should be looking in here and saying, well, what have I done? What have I achieved? What have I got? What are my goals? Not, I should be doing this by this age. I should, you know what I mean? All these people go up to Gary Vee like, Gary, I'm 22 and I don't know what to do with my life. And Gary's like, well, don't go to college. You're only 22. Fucking hell, man. Because, stop comparing yourself, It's good to compare in a logical way. It's good to say, well, I'm a food business, they're a food business, we're running for the same time, their turnover's double ours. Why is that? Let me analyze that. Their reviews are better. Why? Let me analyze that. That makes sense. And, there is a kind of school of thought about faking it till you make it. And there's loads of different kind of plays on that and whatever. I think, faking it till you make it can work. If you fake the confidence, oh, I'm about to go public speak, I don't know what I'm doing, blah, 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 should I be here? Just faking it and saying, yo, I'm super confident, I'm meant to be here, whatever. Even if you don't truly believe it, eventually your mind, your body will believe it. Like, we become the thoughts that we have in our head. And so tell yourself that, and it becomes that. It has an effect, right? And I think getting feedback from people you trust is super, super important. Everyone's going to want to give you feedback. Everyone's going to have an opinion on something. But when it's people you trust and they're maybe experienced in that sector, or they're like your mentors, or you have a mentor or a business coach, you can send me a message or leave a comment for more information on that. You can then ask them and say, hey, third party, objective, what do you think about this? And a lot of people, your friends, your mentor, will give you some honest flipping feedback. And that will then help you shape, think about your own success and how you've got to this point. Not, oh, I got here from luck, right? So quick tips. You could do positive affirmations in the mirror every morning. You could redo like the morning manifestations, a gratitude journal, just little things that kind of make you more present and mindful of what you're doing and how you're doing things. Having KPIs, again, I do this with all my mentees and people I coach. Having that is massive, because you can look at it objectively and say, right, this week I have done this many calls. This week I have done this. And you look back at the week and you can say, oh, I haven't done enough. But if you've hit your targets, you're doing the right thing. If you haven't, then you know where you need to improve, how you need to improve, or if that target is actually just not reasonably achievable because it hasn't happened after a few weeks. So for me, having the KPIs, it's like journaling as well. It allows you to reflect. Journaling may be more subjective, but the KPIs are totally like their numbers. If you haven't made that many calls, you haven't sent that many quotes out, you can't argue with that. It's not about how you feel, it's you haven't done that work, right? And lastly, and this is no Debbie Downers. Listen, hold tight all the good Debbies out there, but all the Debbie Downers, yeah? Shoe. Get out of the way. Not shoe pastry. Out of the way. We don't need that. Surrounding yourself with good, positive people in a mastermind, in a group, in a networking event, through social media, whatever it is going to affect the way you think about this imposter syndrome, because you'll have people around you who don't really feel it, right? Or who do feel it and have worked through it and then can help you work through it. But you'll also see people who are like, yeah, so I run a boating business and I've got an opportunity now in haulage. yeah, I'm just gonna do it, and we'll make it work. We'll learn on the way. We'll hire some people. We'll make some mistakes, and yeah, we'll go from there. And you're thinking, but I could never do that because I'm a boat guy. I'm not a haulage guy. Like what? You know, and it'll blow your mind, and it'll show you how people think differently. And look, I'd love to hear from you, to hear your imposter story, syndrome stories. Leave a comment below, send me a DM. And, you know, just remember, the next time you feel like an imposter, smile and say to yourself, I'm meant to be here. And I am here for a reason.